Hello. Today is Tuesday, January 2nd, 2024. Brand new year. Happy New Year. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. And in this area today, right about now, the temperature is listed at 33 degrees and feels like 30. I'm currently in Lexington, Kentucky, and the high for today will be 40 degrees. Partly cloudy, highs in the low 40s and lows in the upper 20s. Sunrise today in this area will be at 7:54 a.m. Sunset at 5:29 p.m. The wind will be around 4 miles per hour. AQI, Air Quality Index, good at 34. Next couple of days will be partly cloudy. Coming up on the weekend in this area, expect rain, snow, Friday and Saturday. So, if you're watching the sideshow on Facebook and Instagram, don't forget to like, comment, and share. Talk about it on WhatsApp. If you're watching the sideshow on YouTube, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And of course, the sideshow coffee cup, 11-ounce ceramic, black with the sideshow logo on it. Good for all beverages, hot and cold, dishwasher safe. Buy from me for $17 plus shipping and handling. Pay me through Cash App, $TR Parker 1. New Year's 2024, January 2nd. Since New Year's Eve was Sunday, at least 1 million people gathered in Times Square for the dropping of the ball. New York, New York. And with that many people, it goes without saying there probably wasn't enough room for anybody to fall down, let alone fall over. That's Times Square. Again, Happy New Year 2024. Today is January 2nd. Since yesterday was January 1st, it was also the final day for Kwanzaa, which is an African American celebration. And I wanted to share a couple of thoughts on that. The last day of Kwanzaa is Imani, faith. So I thought I would give a couple of quotes from some well-known Black people. And it starts with this. I'll start with this. The beauty of Kwanzaa is it doesn't start Black history from slavery, explains Clark, who was also the founder and co-editor of Columbia University's Black Theological Papers Project. It actually starts us as inventors of civilizations, people who first broke from the animal world, spoke the first human truths, wrote the first basic texts of human knowledge, and so on, he says. That's what Kwanzaa does. It gives us a long memory, a long cultural biography. In addition, when I last spoke on Kwanzaa before we took the break, and I was speaking about Ujamaa, which is cooperative economics, and mentioned 12 Black minority owners in basketball, I didn't mention that Beyonce has created her directory of Black-owned businesses. And as I said, Imani, the last day of Kwanzaa, is devoted to faith. So, in The Black Candle, a 2008 documentary on Kwanzaa, narrated by the late Dr. Maya Angelou, she explains, while the first principle of Umoja brings us closer and harnesses our strength, the last principle, Imani, inspires us and sustains our togetherness. Let us have faith in ourselves and in our Creator, in our mothers and fathers, in our grandmothers and grandfathers, in our elders, and in our future, knowing that we are more than keepers of our brothers and sisters. We are our brothers and sisters. So I just wanted to put that out there. Kwanzaa 2023-2024. Into today's program. Is there anyone who feels that they do not have enough information about what's going on around them? Give that a moment to sink in. Again, is there anyone who feels that they do not have enough information about what's going on around them? Well, the flip side of that is there's also TMI, too much information. And that's like the saturation point where you just feel like you know what's going on. You know, television used to come on and go off. Keep that in mind. That's when it was black and white. I've been talking a lot about basketball. So, with that being said, Super Bowl is in February. Let's talk football. See what the standings are. In the AFC East, if there were any games playing, this is coming from the weekend. AFC East, top, Dolphins at 11-5. In the AFC West, the Chiefs at 10-6. In the AFC North, the Ravens at 13-3. In the AFC South, Jaguars 9-7. Wild card, Cleveland, Buffalo, Indianapolis. NFC division leaders, San Francisco at 12-4. Dallas 11-5. Detroit 11-5. And Tampa Bay at 8-8. Their wild card consists of Philadelphia, Los Angeles Rams, and Green Bay. Super Bowl 58 will be played at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada on Sunday, February 11th, 2024. And speaking of football, over the weekend, Ray Rice was on hand on Sunday as the team's legend of the game, a role that involved appearing on the field for a few seconds and acknowledge the crowd before kickoff. Last season, he was honored as part of Baltimore's 2012 team that won the Super Bowl. The Baltimore Ravens honored Ray Rice before Sunday's game against Miami, a decade after the running back played his final game with the team before a domestic scandal derailed his career. So I'm going to pause right here. And I know the media is always ready to jump on whatever is considered to be sensationalism, not taking anything away from the actual facts of events. So I'm going to say this about domestic violence. It's often said women are emotional, men are logical. So here we go. If the emotional part can be kept to words, and the logical part can be kept to words, then it can be 100. Again, if the emotional part can be kept to words and the logical part can be kept to words, then it can be 100. Except for maybe the Italians. It's been said they can't talk without using their hands. Christmas with the Kelseys. Over the Christmas holiday, Travis had Taylor's family over for Christmas, and this included both sets of parents and siblings. Of course, Taylor did not have to travel as far as her family did. And according to Travis, the only down part of the Christmas holiday or Christmas was that the Chiefs lost. Now we have TNT. Football headed toward the Super Bowl. How many of you have said, I wish I could stay home and get a paycheck? Okay, in case you haven't figured it out, that's called retirement. In the meantime, off to work you go. It just so happens that President Biden has announced a pay raise for government workers, civilian government workers. And this is the first one since Jimmy Carter gave a pay raise of 9.1% during his administration as president. This raise is for civilian federal employees and is a 5.2% pay increase, the largest in 4 decades. This comes along with Social Security and supplemental insurance income benefits for more than 71 million Americans, with an increase of 3.2% in 2024 as cost of living adjustment. Talk about the money. You know, during the pandemic, the government paid for medical treatment, reduced prices on medicines, and it was just May of 2023 that the pandemic was announced as being officially over because of the numbers being less than 5% in the majority of the country. Now, some of that expense is swinging back towards the American people, which on this one, you probably can stand a little straighter and square your shoulders up, means that you're in a position to handle it. On minimum wage, 22 states will increase their minimum wages on January 1, raising pay for nearly 10 million workers. I think in particular, California is making a $4 increase in their minimum wage. Of course, McDonald's came right behind them and said they were going to raise the prices on their menu. New York is another one. I think theirs is almost $2, and then there's two more that have specifically stood up and said that they were going to raise the minimum wage. Currently, the minimum wage is $7.25. So, new money coming in. Congress also has to make some decisions before their next money situation comes up, as far as adjustments that comes on January 16th, 2024. And they have to vote on money going to the Ukraine and money allocated for immigration. So let's deal with the first part first. You know, we are hearing about Ukrainian president visiting this country and other countries, asking for money to help fight the war against Russia, which originally, if you just kind of run the facts, it was probably this time in 2022, because it was specifically stated that they were lined up somewhere around 100 miles from the Ukrainian border with tanks, Russian tanks, and were considering the ground being hard enough from cold weather for their tanks not to get bogged down. So it was in the winter. So, you know, we're hearing about Ukraine needs money, Ukraine needs money, Ukraine needs money. But let's kind of review this for a minute. Okay. Ukraine, at the time, just to use an expression, was minding their own business, wasn't bothering nobody. As a matter of fact, as far as the world was concerned, if I have my facts correct, Ukraine, and this part I know I do, was producing 80% of the world's grain. Also, it was an academic hub, which means that other countries could send their students to Ukraine. And I think their main curriculum, not just necessarily the only one, is medically related. So there was a benefit all around by seeing Ukraine do well, you know, and if nothing else, leave them to their business. So Russia lines up wherever Putin got the idea and decided he was going to go in there and take some land or reclaim land, whatever his thought was about it. So since then, Russia has advanced inside the Ukrainian borders on the ground. We got reports on that. Then, as war is and as war goes, there's three areas: land, air, and sea. And Ukraine has been through all of that. Now you're hearing reports in the news about things happening on the water, ships being blown up and things of this nature. And Ukrainians, I give them credit on this. We might not be ready to say that they have won, all right? But they are definitely making it uncomfortable for Russian troops to be there in their land or in their country, at least. And that's what help from the United States has committed a lump sum of money, to help them, and it's being paid out in increments. So every time you say, well, Ukraine has to have money or giving money to Ukraine, it's not repetitive in the sense that it's new money. The United States, via President Biden and other world leaders, committed to a certain amount of money to be paid out, in increments, so to speak. So this is coming up again and has to be decided by January 16th. Russia, on its part, not minding its own business, went into Ukraine, and we've kept up via the news. Same thing 1 year later, cold weather from 22 to 23. Russia, in 1 year, countries no longer do business with Russia. All your little fast food places and everything else like that. All the countries that had businesses in Russia have pulled their businesses out of the country. Countries are no longer buying Russian products. Russians rich enough to support the war are having their possessions taken. Putin has been declared a war criminal. So if he steps outside of Russia, he can be arrested and taken to The Hague. So that's on the Russian side of things. The other part of that bill, and these two things are grouped together, is migrants and immigration. So what's the difference between immigrants and migrants? The word migrant refers to someone who moves to other places in search of work or better living conditions. The word immigration refers to those who move to foreign countries permanently for work or for better living conditions. It can be used both as a noun and an adjective. So again, we're have enough information coming across the airways, news related, to understand that the word border crisis is being used frequently. So that brings up the question, what is causing the border crisis? The migrants, who are mostly of Mexican, Guatemalan, Honduran, and Venezuelan citizenship, are reported to be escaping economic hardship, gang violence, and environmental disaster in their home countries, particularly acute in the Guatemala and Honduran countries, to seek asylum in the U.S. Other countries of significant migration during the first 8 months of 2023 include Ecuador, Haiti, and if they combine the number of people coming from Haiti to include children born in Brazil and Chile, China, and Colombia. So that's what we're looking at. The United States is up to it. I want to take a moment here to speak on, address, acknowledge, make mention of how my last broadcast ended. In the description for the sideshow or Theodore Parker's sideshow, the sideshow with Theodore Parker, the description says the news in a manner that you do not receive in regular content. So the premise is established, just like with any televised TV program, that the person's giving you the news may have a cup displayed in the view of the audience, but I don't think I've ever seen them light a cigarette. That being said, also I talk about health, food, nutrition, exercise, and trying to be the best version of yourself that you can be. So it would appear that that would be a contradiction in terms, and if not, also maybe counterproductive. So let me explain something to you. These are the cigarettes that I smoke. All right, they're referred to as Marlboro NXT. And besides being Marlboro, the operative thing here is NXT. That stands for nicotine extracted. All of us know that nicotine is the ingredient in cigarettes that has been reported as a health hazard and also linked to cancer. Well, these cigarettes do not have nicotine. So that's my explanation on that. So also there have been some comment about menthol cigarettes. Across the top, you're given a choice as a purchaser of this particular brand. It'll say regular and menthol, and then there's a little dot on it that if you want menthol, you can press it and you'll have menthol. If you don't, you have a regular cigarette. So no nicotine in these cigarettes. Marlboro NXT. Furthermore, you know, I'm not the guy, like the guy in the joke, who says he doesn't cuss, drink, or smoke, and then opens his mouth, out comes a string of profanity, and he says, I left my cigarettes on the bar. And since we've opened some topics, the same is true, or the same applies in my sex life. 2 is company, 3 is a crowd. And I don't require viewers. Last time I checked, having a drink was not against the law, or drinking alcohol was not against the law. In my case, if I'm going to have a drink, I'm usually having food with it. I prefer having a good time, not a hard time. And 9 times out of 10, you are not doing what I'm doing. I try to get as much information as I can about what I'm involved with. And you can still have your opinion, you know. You still have your opinion and your freedom of speech. But freedom of speech is there so people can compare what you say with what you do. So now you know about me. Before I sign off, don't forget to breathe and pause when you get ready to write the date on anything. It does take a minute to adjust, or time to adjust. January 2nd, 2024. That's it. Hashtag